Welcome, Father Mike. Oh, excited to have our first meeting of the Oblates Perpetual Light. Haven and Abel are working today, so they're unable to attend. Bob and Elaine do not have Zoom capability, so they're not able to attend, but it's a good thing that we're recording it. Audio will be uploaded only, so no video to YouTube, so they can at least listen and, always contact me if they, want to add anything to what we're discussing today. I'm always open to suggestions, ideas for how to improve or better serve the Oblates. We began, of course, January 1st. We started off with 3 members. To date, we have 7. So that's not bad for the first month.
Not bad for a month.
Many thanks to those who've been promoting the website for the Oblates here lately on social media. Those of you who do that know who you are, because they're humble. They don't want me to mention them. But yeah, they've been doing a really good job of getting out there. I have an app on my phone for Wix site. So every time, I guess it's because I have the chat on the Oblate. So every time someone goes on the web page, I get a ding. So I'm always like looking to see who it is. And it's been pretty busy with hits this past week, but no new people yet. So anyway, I believe it's one of those things that, it will catch on. It's just going to take some time. But I mean, it's probably the easiest oblates in the world to follow. We don't have many rules. And as I always say, we have the baby bones. So we're very, very flexible. And to me, that's important. It's important to be flexible to a certain extent, that way we're, loving and accepting and towards everyone. It's people don't feel like, I don't ever want anyone to feel like they don't fit in or, it's not for them. We want to be a one size fits all or most kind of thing. So I'll be updating the Oblate attire page probably sometime this week or next. Just depends on when I get around to doing photo shoots. The search and quest for the perfect robes has been a labor of love and a costly labor. Haven will definitely attest to that. But I finally found a really good place. I feel it's reasonable, especially for the quality. You wouldn't think it would be difficult to find, robes, especially like Benedictine robes. Where do they buy their stuff?
They make them.
Yeah, they make them. They probably make their own wool and thread and stuff too.
Right.
Well, it's probably next to the brewery, so
right, exactly. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to find that stuff, and you end up finding Ren Fair sites, and like this one. This is from a Ren Fair site, but it's top quality. The price was amazing, and it's made specifically to the specs of the Benedictines, so which is awesome. So I mean, it comes in natural and it comes in black. So anyway, for those of you who are interested in garbing out, you're more than welcome to. But as one of our other members said, that their vestments closet runneth over. I can agree with that. I can definitely relate. So but if anybody has any ideas or suggestions, things you would like to see on the webpage, added, changed, let me know. We can do it. It's, again, it's very flexible. I'm not a tech savvy, especially web tech savvy person at all. So, but we'll get it done one way or the other. All righty. So this is the point where I was going to open up the floor for people to introduce themselves. So, Father Mike, if you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself.
So I'm Father Mike Cantor, and I'm in Washington, Bellingham, Washington, about 30 minutes south of Canada. And so I was see I've been in ministry for a long time and enjoy working with other people and other ministries to help in development. And I want to be part of the Oblates of Perpetual Light because I feel like it is a great opportunity to um, be of service and also to get back into my own studies and prayer life, which I find can sometimes be a little lacking um, for myself. But I think a focus on prayer and service is a great thing for all of us. So that's me.
All right.
If anybody has questions, feel free to message me or ask away. I'm always most of the time always available.
When I'm not bothering you.
Yeah, right. You're never a bother. Never a bother.
And for those of you who don't know, I'm Reverend Angel Wise, director of Oblates, creator of the Oblates, or I should say co-creator, because the creator created the Oblates. And, it's definitely, I agree with Father Mike. It's one of those things that, we get, especially those in clergy, we get so busy doing. There's always something that needs to be done, but that goes for every one of us in regular life too. Is there's always something that needs to be done, and we tend to put the spiritual, our faith, and all of that on the back burner. And it's something that is probably the most important thing. I know for me, it's the most important thing in my life, and it should be for just about everybody, I believe. To focus on your faith and to spend some time, and I always hear, well, I don't have time, and I always say, well, how often are we on our phone, our cellular device? If you could just take an hour and silence your phone, I'm not saying turn it off, but just put it on silence, or, do not disturb, and just take that hour or that time that you would have spent, going through Facebook, social media, what have you, and spend that time just in prayer. There's all kinds of great little prayer books. I should probably do a page on that. That's probably a good idea on the website of just little prayer books where you just open it up and it's right there. I don't have the name right now. I'll definitely put it in the notes of this show that Brother Ashley told me about, a independent Celtic Catholic Christian. I think that's the right set of words, but an author. And he's got this amazing little book, and it's set up for 5 weeks. And every day it's got your morning prayers, it's got your midday prayers, and it's got your evening prayers. You're praying the office, but it's so condensed. I mean, it's just like a paragraph instead of like pages, of the office. And I've been really digging that. So you start off wherever day in the week in it. It's all divided up by day and by week, and it's really easy to follow. Again, I'll put a link to that in the notes here in the YouTube for this show, so you guys can check that out. Highly recommended. I think it was like maybe $5 or $6 on Thrift Books or something like that. So,
oh wow,
it's definitely a good thing. For us to keep in, anything that can help spice up your spiritual life. I mean, the thing is, like my spiritual director, Father Mike, is getting me into is being excited. If you're excited about your faith, you're going to want to do it. You're going to want to pick up that book. You're going to want to study those prayers. Whereas if it's, oh my gosh, well, I'm in the Oblates and I've got to pray at least once a day. What am I going to, does this count? What do I have to study? Oh, but do I have to contemplate it? And, and then Angel's talking about this, 3H, heads, hands, and heart, and all this. I ain't got time for that. My thing is I understand. I'm a very busy person myself. But again, when it's something you're excited about, when it's something that your heart is into, believe me, you will make time for it. And, again, for those who say they don't have time and can't make time, I challenge you to just sit down and, here again, Father Mike's been teaching me, sit down and just write down your day of how much time you spend doing this, how much time you spend doing that. And you'd be amazed at how much time is literally wasted, and I consider it wasting because if you're, stuck in social media, what did that accomplish, versus your spiritual life? Did that help, you in your spiritual life, or did it help you in your worldly life? As Jesus said, you can't serve both,
Right.
Get chicken or the egg. You gotta pick which one. But I
Right.
mean, I believe in the Eastern way that there's a middle path. There's a way you can get in that middle groove to where you can do both and achieve both. And there's nothing wrong with it, especially when your faith is your life, And that's the thing, the whole thing about the oblates is to help us as a community to slowly move in that direction. And it's very achievable. It's something that's not outlandish. It's not something that's impossible. It's definitely something that's doable, and we can do it. And the great thing about the oblates is we all have each other. We have our support. As Father Mike said, you can contact him. You can always contact me. We're all available. We have the Facebook group. For those of you who are on that, I highly recommend that. It's a great way, if you're Kathy Chatties like me, that you want to get on there and be as involved as you want to be. Or if you're like Haven, who's more of the ascetic and you're more of the quiet and contemplative type, then it's also for you as well. So, it gets everybody from, A to Z, I believe. But again, appreciate everybody being in the oblates. And again, like said, just keep with it. It's, if you need help, I'm here. Father Mike's here. I'm sure, Haven, Brother Ashley, are all here for you as well. And we'll be more than happy to help you guys in any way we can to do what you need to do. But start off small. Don't set yourself up with, taking the big book of the daily office and saying, I'm gonna do this. This is going to be my everyday thing, because you're setting yourself up to fail. You've got to, you got to have the baby steps. You got to take little things. Like I said, I'll post the link and everything, information on that little prayer book. Highly recommend that. It's so easy, and it takes literally, 5 minutes to do the whole day. If you wanted to do it in one sitting, it takes less than 5 minutes. So it's just good stuff. So, all right.
Yeah. So Angel, can you give us an example of what you're doing currently in your own prayer and study life?
A teacher. Well, my study life is seminary focused, but it's also all over the place. It's an organized mess, I like to call it, because I get started on so many different books. And if it's a book I love, I will intentionally stall on it to make it last as long as it can possibly last, because I don't like to say goodbye
Right.
to any of my friends. So I try to keep my friends around as long as I can. And there was a time for 5 years where I was legally blind and I couldn't read. And for a person that loves to read, that is literally hell. So I've noticed that, within the past 2 years since I got my vision back, I tend to hoard books. If I see a book, I'll grab a book, and I keep them, because it's like, I've got to, I guess it's this thing in my mind that I've got to consume as much as I can consume, because if the lights go out again, I'm not going to be able to read. So I want to make sure I read as much as I do or can. So, that's I am constantly studying, constantly reading. And it's like I said, it's all over the place. Book Nook, you'll hear me talk about a lot on there about what I'm currently studying and doing, and also the seminary work. As far as prayer goes, I really do my level best to be in a constant state of prayer. And I recently talked about this on a show that's going to be coming up about, what does that prayer look like? What is my prayer life like, and what would I recommend to people? And to me, it's just like I'm talking to you guys now, it's how I talk with the divine. I mean, I always ask people, do you talk to yourself? So instead of talking to yourself, why don't you talk with the divine? Just say, hey, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, right.
And
Some might even say talking to yourself is talking to the divine.
Yes, yeah, there we go. Took the Eastern route on to know is
The
divine.
divine within us, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is, I think that our conditioning over the centuries has given us this misconception of what prayer is to be, that they want us to be in a church, kneeled, and that is prayer, and that's absolutely, to me, that's a form of prayer, but it's not the only form of prayer. Prayer is life. Life is prayer. It's, one, there's no end to one or beginning of the other. It's all, a nice little beautiful thing. So, but that's where I'm at. How about you?
Well, I tend to do a contemplative prayer every night, and kind of go over my day and any thoughts that I've thought that I need to take a look at, because they weren't what I would have preferred, or weren't in the alignment with who I perceive myself to be. And I kind of look through and try and find how I can go and change, for next time, uh, what I'm thinking or saying, or and also just kind of looking back and being happy about things too. It's like, okay, well, this situation could have gone one way and it didn't. And so I can be happy about that. And so just kind of taking this introspective look at my day, and then also in a way it's just understanding that God is with me through all of it, right? Even through the parts that I may not have enjoyed, God was still with me through that, and I can give thanks for those moments too. Um, Study wise, so I mentioned in the group that I was thinking of doing this deep dive into Isaiah, and so I cracked open my Holy Bible, and so I read it in the what is the NRSV version first, and then I have what is called the interlinear Bible.
Ooh.
So it's Hebrew, Greek, and English. So it's written in Hebrew with the English like direct translation underneath it.
Oh, wow.
So I can get a better understanding of what um how it's directly being translated, and kind of see uh what the difference might be from how it's written in my Bible and how it's written in Hebrew and understood. And then I'll generally sometimes go one more step further and look up the Hebrew words in a lexicon or word book. And I take a very academic approach to my Bible study. And so I did this week chapter 1 of Isaiah, and it was just kind of realizing that it is incredibly appropriate for our time and space now.
Hmm.
Because it's talking about how governments and people have turned away from God, and what is the consequence of that, really? What does it mean for us, and what can we do to realize that if we want change, we need to create change. If we don't want to have our spiritual lives and our churches and our country and governments and everything to fall apart, what do we need to do to change it? And part of it is realizing there's a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
So Isaiah is a prophetic book, so it is really talking about what can and will happen if Israel continues on doing what they're doing and doesn't realize that they need to have God back in their lives.
Yeah.
So
You said that the interlinear Bible?
yeah, the interlinear Bible.
Interlinear Bible. Okay.
Yeah. My husband got it for me as a gift, and it is really amazing. It's I can show you. It's a very large blue
Ooh,
book.
that's a big boy. Oh, yeah.
It is definitely worth everything.
That's yummy.
Yeah, it's very good. I tend to sometimes I have a problem with it because it does have sometimes the translation is a little bit off for me. Which is why I actually go and look up the actual Hebrew word and try and look at it that way. But it generally gives a very good idea, and it gives you the Hebrew and the Greek word is used, so you can go look it up.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I really enjoy it. So, and I mean, as a teacher, my my thing is always find good resources to study, right? It's not about just for me. It's not just about picking up any book and reading it,
Right. Yeah.
but it's about finding the right books in the right way at the right time. And I think for all of us in our spiritual practice, finding the right prayer and the right time that's right for us is really important. Because, like you said earlier, if we're not excited about it, if we're not happy about it, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what's been going on with my
Good.
my prayer and study life.
All right. Well, I guess we will adjourn here if anyone doesn't have anything else to add. Do you want to close us out with a blessing, Father Mike?
Sure. I can close this out with prayer. Dear gracious and heavenly God, creator of all things, the great being, the source of all wisdom, knowledge, and power, we thank you for the opportunity to come together and to commune with you and each other and to be in relationship with each other, to find ourselves in community and bring ourselves out of our shells and realize that you are in the midst of us. Continue to be with us as we go out in our lives and as we continue to study and pray and find ways to be of service to the world that you have created. Give us the strength to endure that which we struggle with and the hope to move and see ourselves through it. Give us also the power and the strength to reach out when we need help and to know and feel no shame in doing so. And by your grace, let us continue to know and feel that we are, in fact, wonderfully and perfectly made and loved by you. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Angel. I really appreciate you putting this together for all of us.
No problem.
So